Hey everybody, we're doing an opening. We're going to start a video today, going to a property. It's a camp that was built on sonotubes, so the water goes right underneath. Last year it created some pretty good washouts, and they had someone go under and I think do some structural stuff 4 or 5 years ago and told them they better get the water to go around it. I met them a year ago. They had a tree come down on the roof, and I went and kept care of that. Friend of another customer I have, and they got my name through him to do the tree. Then they said, hey, he says you do this type of stuff, and I gave him an idea what I think we should do. So we're going to go start that today. When we get there, I'll do a quick walk around, but I just thought I'd do an opening to the video. I'm doing it in the truck because it's very windy this morning. So we'll see how the footage goes today. Thought I'd take a shot when I'm going in. This is kind of an interesting neighborhood, I guess you'd say. Somewhere along the line, I believe someone that lived out here had some money, paid to hot top a lot of this, which is real unusual around the lakefront. This is pretty crowded now. When I first moved up here in the 90s, it wasn't that bad. But there's a mixture. Some of these are the original camps, probably. Some of these probably go back into the 50s, maybe a little before that. But this lake, I think, started in well, I should say got real populated in the 50s. But you'll see that's one of the original camps there. Probably doesn't have a lot of people coming up to it by the looks of the roof and stuff. But then the one over here was that way. I've done work on this house years ago, but they tore the original camp down and built that. It's sad. I mean, some of these older camps have some pretty good character to them, and a lot of them get left and rebuilt because you'd never be able to put the new one. If you tear it down, they make you back away from the lake, and some of these lots are impossible. Some of these lots are only 65 or 85 feet deep, so you got to be careful what you do. Sometimes you're stuck rebuilding what was there. And like you've got to literally like rebuild what's there. You got to leave part of the original house there, or they consider it a complete tear down. A lot of like log cabins back in the day, you know, simple camp type log cabins. One guy I think came out here. When I first moved up here, there was always I can't remember the guy's name, but he owned a lot of the land and also built a lot of the camps that were up here. That's why a lot of them look the same, and I don't know if they might have even been a kit back then they were buying, because that was an era where you could buy a small house from like Sears catalog that he put together for people, and he did pretty well with it. And this is where the road turns to two-way. Other than that, this Y, it goes out to the main road again, but this part is two-way. Looks like they just did some hot topping in the last week or so out here. Extended this out further. There's nothing good about this this is a high populated area of the lake, but because of that, your road committee gets a lot more money, so you can do stuff like this. You can put pavement down instead of like, other than that, dealing with these dirt camp roads is a pain in the butt. But yeah, this is all new in the last few weeks because I was out here checking on this job. This is a job I'm fitting in. I did other work for them, and then they had me look at this and didn't get back to me. Then they got back to me and wanted it done, but by the time, I mean, I had this on the schedule to fit in all summer long, and I'm just finally getting to it now. So I'm going to unload. I don't want to have all that weight on the trailer when I turn around. I believe this left turn goes down to one of the right-of-ways, but like I said, across the street's one of the original camps. This is one of the original camps. I think they lifted, but I don't believe anybody lives out here at this time of year. I mean, most of these I know this one got winterized, but I want to show what we're doing. They want to take that big boulder and put it on the front lawn as a centerpiece. They kind of put an X where they want it. And other than that, we're going to be digging This is all sand. When they had someone go under the house and block it up better and do some sonotubes, all the sand they dug out, they dumped here years ago. I guess that was like 5 or 8 years ago, whatever it was. But this hillside, basically when it melts off in the spring, the water just goes right underneath this house, and it's starting to get after where they put the blocking in. Set of some of it's sonotubes in the middle. On the outside, I think they just like did a double block with a footing. But you can see where it kind of chews out the ground. When I took the tree off the roof this spring, there was 3 inches of running water right here going underneath this house. So we're going to try to dig. We're going to start digging behind this shed a little bit. They also want to try to slide this shed back. If you can see that it's coming off the piers here, it's walking back on them anyway. The well pump and everything else is inside this shed to the house, so they want to re-level it anyways, but they said they'd like to set it back in the bank. So I'm going to try to dig back here first. I don't think the digging's going to be that good. We'll find out. I think there's going to be a lot of ledge from what I'm seeing elsewhere. I know this area a little bit too. You can see over on the other side of the shed the ledge is sticking out, but I think that's why that shed got put where it was. If we got to re-level it, I think we can walk it back a few feet, but I don't think it's going to be a lot. But we got to basically dig this out and get it so that water will run around the house instead of through it. So we're going to be getting started on that. I just want to show where we're at. I thought the camera was on in there, but it wasn't. I was paying attention. I had to crawl up on that hillside and get this dug out. There was a pretty good sized boulder in there, and I believe that right there is ledge. A good piece of ledge. You can tell when you hit it, and it would make sense. That's ledge there. You could probably shear it off, but he just wants to slide this back. He'd like to get 8 feet, which is about what I got. I think what we're going to do, I think that's the next job we might be doing here. We'll see. Sounds like he wants me to do it, but I'm just going to set some 6x6s up here so that I can just push that back onto the new platform. It's going to be easier doing it that way. But I just want to show where we're at. All that round rock was right in it. They've been gathering it up over the years, and they put a bunch on this corner that I bulldozed in to get in here. That will retain that. I think what I'm going to do is pull some of those. I'm just going to take a leaf blower, blow some leaves down over that, so make it look like it never happened, basically. I know his property line. You can see them. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a ribbon up there. You can still go probably 6 or 8 feet back. So I was definitely on his property. I wanted to be careful. I think I might go up and put a stake on that so it shows a little bit better for future purposes. But I just wanted to show where we're at. I dug this out to get all the boulders out, because I'm not sure if we're going to put sonotubes in or he just wants to skid it back on something. I think I'm going to suggest putting a couple 6x6 posts in the ground in sonotubes, and then building all with 6x6 pressure treated, build it so we can basically skid this right back onto the new a new level area. And over here, basically, you can see it's a few months ago when I come out here, but you can still see a little bit of trace of an orange line. I got to just basically curl this over here. We are going to have to place a few boulders. That was including on the price. I told them I'd probably get 6 or 8 good sized boulders, stick them in just this corner, because that's going to be the low, most of the highest banking that we're going to have. The rest of it, when we come out, we're going to try to roll it down, and he's going to seed it next year, I think. Probably me. There's no loom here. It's all sand, so I'm probably going to have to bring some loom in. But right now, we just want to get this shape so that the water that comes down off that hill this spring hits this ditch and goes around the house instead of through it. I think I'm going to dig this a little bit with the excavator, but from here out, he says most of this sand was put here when they dug out underneath the house. If that's the case, I might bring the excavator home and just come back with a tractor, and that way I can load it right on the dump truck rather than handling it twice. I just want to, I'm going to scratch a line all the way through to make sure there's nothing in here I can't move with a tractor, but I think I'm just going to come back with a 2501 and start hauling this stuff right out of here, rather than keep turning around and dumping it like I am right now. But we'll see how it goes. I'll know real quick.
looking like it's just sand. That's good. That way, I'm just gonna come. I'm gonna bring this. It's almost lunch. I'm gonna bring this home. After lunch, we'll bring back the 2501, drop it off, and I can go home and grab the dump truck. I can just probably got a day or so of hauling this stuff out of here. This is like 5-6 miles from my house, so it ain't too bad. Cool. I don't know how well this is gonna work. It's pretty breezy today, but I just want to show that did dig out. I didn't find anything big, just potato sized rock. So basically what I got to do is come in with the 2501, just get it out of here bucket at a time. I just want to show in the video, I came in from the right side here. When you're going back out, that's a one-way all the way in, and this is where the one-way starts going out. I think the right-of-ways out here were only 9 and 12 feet wide. That's why they ended up doing that over the years. It's been this way for quite a while. I don't believe it. When I first started this business, I think it was you could go in either way, but there were so many close calls. It's another thing too, when I moved here in the 90s, these lakes weren't this busy. I mean, now it's just a party central. These were owned by local people that had blue collar jobs, and then now, I mean, like I said, this neighborhood's empty right now. I did see one woman walking a dog today. If this was summertime, I probably would have seen 40 people walking their dogs. But like, I'll show here, this is another new construction. That was just a lot that you would think would have never got built on, and it's just anything that's buildable is getting built on. This last craze just ate up the land that was left around here. I mean, people are doing, right now, that's what's happening. People are doing the lots that are just crap. They have water issues, and I've come to the conclusion now, though, like, you buy a piece of land that says non-buildable, if you get the right guy, I swear you can just about build. The new septic systems are so small, and I mean, there's a couple in my neighborhood. Both will kind of, the woman's got one, supposedly she did get a septic design done on it, but it's still going to be a crap lot when she's done. I think she's going to have a lot of water issues in the spring that she's not expecting. I know the land because I lived out there, and it used to be a four-wheeler and snowmobile path in the 90s when I first moved up here. And she's putting a hole, you know, she's building down in the hole. She's not even filling it. So it's what happens around here too is that whoever builds first wins. Some of the lots that just hang around and no one does nothing with become what I call spring runoff. That's where all the water goes that comes off the roads and everybody's tied driveways, and just there's a lot of people. The last 2 years, I know a couple of customers I've worked for try to divert water around their house. The one I'm working on right now, kind of a good example. It was always a camp. I don't think it was a camp that was getting used much. These people that bought it up there all summer long, and every time there's a downpour, they got a stream going underneath the house, so they finally had to deal with it. And I think they put a lot of money too on getting the house reset, and they want to keep care of it. They were pretty concerned about getting it done before the ground froze, so I'm sneaking over here to do it. This is probably going to be the last bigger project I'm doing. I got a couple of small driveways I might do fix up before plow season, but I'm gonna I like calling it early in the season anyway, so I can get all my snowplow stuff ready and relax a little bit before plow season. Just want to take a shot where we're at this point. I'm gonna haul probably 1 or 2 more loads off, and then we'll try to shape this into something. But it's been pretty decent digging. I found there was a couple, you know, basketball sized rocks in there, but nothing real bad. So we'll get this load and another load dug out, and we'll probably load up some boulders and bring them back. But I just thought I'd show where we're at. And they're supposed to call me today, and I don't know if, I think this hot topping got done after they shut the camp down, but the problem I can see now with that curb of hot top, it's not really going to want to go anywhere. I think it's going to keep this front lawn saturated. So when they call me today, I'm going to tell them they might want to come up and take a peek at that. And I really don't think I'm going to haul off anymore after this load until I talk to them, because we're knocking that hillside down a little bit. We're going to, you know, cut a cut it out so that the water comes down through in like a funnel. I'm going to teardrop it basically to this bottom, but all that fill that's coming out, there's no sense of hauling it off if we're going to be putting 3 or 4 inches of fill here. So we're back on this job. I just want to do a quick walk around. It just got a lot bigger. They repaved this road, I said earlier in the video, left a 4 or 5 inch edge, which is just going to have like a pond sitting here in the spring. So we decided it's late in the season, but not too late if I loom it, seed it. I'm going to put a straw with a tactifier in it down, and I'm going to use a mat type fiber mat on the ditch line that's going to be running water in the spring, and I think he'll be fine. We may have to do a quick overseed here and there, but overall I think it will grow in good in the spring. I just want to show you, that's the hot tops edge, and it goes all the way across their property, and at that end it's probably 6.5. I measured it yesterday, 6.5 inch edge, so it's just going to hold the water right in here. They don't want to disturb that walkway that they put in. I guess his wife did this or something, I guess. But that's probably the highest point, and it goes up as you go back. So we're just going to loom over here. I am gonna put gravel against the road, probably 24 inches out, and then put a straight line where the grass is going to be. But we decided now we're gonna fill this front yard in and loom and seed it. This is just material I screen off my screener this morning to bring here, something a little sandy to put underneath where that way we're not doing it all with loom. There's a pretty good cavity there. Over there, I started bringing in loom yesterday when we made the decision. Another thing that they added is he decided he wasn't 100% sure on that shed whether he wanted to move it back and get it down. What it is, they're getting older and they don't want the steps. They want that thing sitting on the ground. I'll show you where we got yesterday with this. Pretty much we're going to be setting those boulders in next week. I really want to be wrapped up with this by the end of next week. Today's Friday, so by next Friday I want to be done. I brought some tools with me right now. I'm going to cut the electrical to this. Suppose it'll be dead. The water pump and stuff's in there, so we're going to cut the water lines, cut that pipe. I'm going to show you the tools I'm going to use in a minute, but we're going to cut that conduit off and cut the wire so he can put a junction box. And we're going to bring that shed back to the point where he can probably run the water and power lines to the front of the shed. We'll see what happens when I get ready to go back with it, but I brought some timbers. I'm going to try to sit it when it's sitting on, instead of having it right on the ground, it's going to sit on those 4x6 pressure treated. The other stuff I just brought so that we can slide it, hopefully. But we're going to do that. And then I also want to figure out if I got to bring the excavator back. I'm pretty sure I got to bring it back to knock this down a little bit more. And like I said, we're going to try to get this so that it's sitting right on those 4x6s, pretty much on the ground, to get rid of the steps. But I just thought I'd take a shot where we're at. All right, I just want to show, use this tool. You cut around the top and bottom. I think this one shows better, like the groove. Then you just take this tool and you basically you go down, cut a line, then you just squeeze that with a pair of pliers. It'll crack right off. And I'm going to do that to both. I just wanted to show how I'm doing that, and that way it doesn't hurt the wire, rather than just cut them with a saw. I used to cut them with a sawzall. Once in a while you'd get in the wire, then it's a bit, we're trying to make sure he's got enough wire to put a box underneath this when we move it back. And the other water lines I just cut, the water lines to this I just cut 8 inches out. I'm going to cap those so nothing gets in them over the winter, and he can rehook them up in the spring. I'm just disconnecting it. He didn't want to come all the way back up from Mass and bring a key. There's really no need of it. The power's all shut off. That's what I cared about. So I just don't want to do a hack thing. A lot of guys would have just cut that and let him deal with it, but I'm going to do it to where he's got nice 4 or 5 inches of wire on each end that he can play with. All right, a quick shot. I cut up through that. Denver touched the wire, and like I said, you break off, you just give it a quick twist with your hand, that breaks off. Now I'm just going to go get a screwdriver and we'll pop that off. Do the same thing to this one. A lot of people make a big deal of doing stuff like this, but you just got, I'm gonna have a half hour doing this, but you're better off doing it right than have a messed up wire that someone's gonna deal with, or you gotta dig into the ground to splice it. So I just want to do a quick shot. That's what that looks like. No wires were harmed. I got one load here of the boulders I'm going to use to retain that corner back there. I'm bringing the excavator back anyway, so I grabbed some good size ones to make it go quick. I'm going to try to get the shed moved today. I just got here. He decided he didn't want to cut that wire, so I had to get into the house and disconnect everything inside to the water pump. Now the wire should pull out, and that one's easy. Yep, so that's good. And I capped that water pipe. So what we're gonna do, he's changed his mind on the shed too. He goes, oh, I'm gonna wait till I'm up there next season. So I said, listen, I got my schedules open right now. And I don't think he realized how much I had already started. I said I started on the shed because it's the furthest point out. So what he wants to do now is he wants to only move the shed back. I think it's going to figure about 6.5 feet, because he wants to make sure that wiring and stuff stays underneath the shed. It made it a bigger job to me, because now I got to dig underneath that shed. So I'm going to come up with the excavator, dig this out, and I think I'm going to have to reach underneath with a shovel, keep pulling it out, moving it. Then I'm going to put the 4x6s down and then drop this end on those and try to push the shed back onto that. We'll see what happens. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to drop that shed, but I don't want to do it until I'm going to be here for a while, and I'm going to be breaking for lunch for like a half hour. So I'm going to just try to place some of these boulders. Corner. The rest of this we're going to roll down and seed or bark mulch. A lot of people would think this size machine would move that boulder, but you just got to keep it close. I'd be more worried if that was actually retaining a real retaining wall. This is basically getting put there for looks. It's retaining that little sand bank, but I mean nothing major. I'd look at it completely different if I was worried about that retaining dirt. Show. I'm getting ready to drop that jack down. I gotta cut this one last 4x4 out of this corner, and then I'm just gonna try to push that back onto the 4x6s to get it slid back where it's got to be. I just put a little bit of dish soap on those. It's amazing the difference that makes trying to skid something. There's a little more in this shed than he said there was. I had to get into it to pull the wires out. I believe I can still shove this back. If my tractor doesn't seem like it wants to do it easy, I'll just use the excavator, but the blade of the excavator will push that, no problem. I just want to show we got that back, and the weirdest thing is that it's not really that far out of level. It skidded back pretty simple. I went about 4 or 5 inches too far right there. You can see the conduit. He wants that underneath, so I gotta nudge it forward. But I just want to show, you put the 4x6s or a 6x6, put some dish soap on it, you'll be surprised how easy something this big will push around. And that's my little 25 horse tractor that did it. Thing is, he wants to not have steps. He wants to just have a ramp that goes into it. So I think we're going to be there. Like I said, I dug that hillside out. Myself, I would stick it as far back in that corner as I could, and he's still 20 something feet off the property line, and then smooth this out better. But yeah, I'm going to do what he wants to do. I'm going to nudge that corner over there one more time, then we'll drag this one back and see if we can get that conduit underneath the edge. Then tomorrow we'll come in and we'll block and level it. I got it there, and no creaking or weird noises. It stayed on. It almost came off that one over there, but it stayed good. So now tomorrow I'll block and level it up. And that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted to put an approach ramp into that. I'm going to bring some shim and stuff, whatnot, tomorrow. And then all I got to do is block and level it. He's going to hook the plumbing back up in the electrical. Brought in a couple more loads of boulders this morning. More than I wanted to do, but I ended up getting into this bank a little higher than I thought I was going to. Not getting crazy with it. We're just setting them in there, and they're going to plant the top and in front of it next season. But we got the shed moved yesterday. Didn't have the camera with me. I put the wires up in. Doesn't get them back up to where they need to be on the pump, and one of them powers the shed, but it gets it inside the building so he can put the junction box inside the building, which is what he wanted. He wants to just have like a 6-inch ramp that goes up in there, probably 4 or 5 feet out. But the door, everything works good. The door works good. One dumb thing I did is when I was paying attention, I was pushing it with this tractor with that attachment, and I caught the edge of this little set of steps and tweaked it. And then the 4x4 that was originally on that was rotted. So once it wiggled around once, it was like a 1/2 inch out of level. So I ended up replacing that, and when I did that, I cracked the board, so I added a... So other than that, we're not getting too crazy over here. I'm just going to take a rake and level things out. I'm getting paid to dress this thing from about where the tractor's sitting out so that the water comes down off the hill, doesn't go under the house. Most of this hillside we're just going to rake down into an, we're going to put a better sweep to it so that we can just put grass seed. He's always just weed whacked back here anyways. He just wants it grass, so it lines up. This corner was just too steep. I originally thought I was only going to dig into that to where we had to put 4 or 5 rocks in there, and like I said, it's I got into it a little more aggressive than I thought I would to get this down over here. So what I'm going to do today is just throw the boulders in this corner real quick and get out of here, because they're talking heavy rains for the next couple days. Just to get like a couple inches of rain an hour through one of these storms. I don't know. It's what I'm hearing this morning, so I'm just going to throw this corner together and get my excavator home. I need it on a couple other things if I can do in the rain. I'm not going to work here in the rain, because the next thing I got to do is loom and seed this. I got to shape this. Probably do a little more with the 2501 after that. I think I'm just going to bring the BX. This corner is kind of tight to go around. We'll dress this a little bit, and like I said, the rest of that hillside is probably just going to get rolled down. And same with over here. I'm going to put one more rock here, and then from there out, just going to get rolled down. The job keeps getting stuff added to it. Now they decided that because of that edge of the hot top I spoke about earlier in the video, they're nervous about this being a pond in the spring. And it really is true. The water's going to run. I'm the one that told them that. The water's going to run to your yard now off that road. and the water that's going around the house isn't going to be able to get out of here unless we fill it. So we're filling it. He agreed to that. Then he calls me back and says, well, we kind of want a driveway put in. So I'm going to put a driveway in off the road, 1-car drive road, you know, just to get off the road with one small car. I'm going to do it, I think, in the angle of this walkway. So I think they should do 2, because once in a while there's a couple cars here, but he said he just wants to keep doing that as grass. But we're going to try to put grass seed, we're going to try to loom and seed it to get the water to run to the right side of the lot looking from the road. So I'm going to try to pitch everything so it goes down the road right there. I'm going to get a good idea, because I guess the next 2 days is supposed to be heavy rain. That's all the big stuff I'm going to place. Everything else is going to get brought in. It'll be like basketball size or smaller. And I'm actually going to fill this in a little bit and roll that down. They want to be able to walk up this end, I believe. So, and I got some fill here to get rid of, so I'm going to do that, fill this in. And I was only supposed to put 5 or 6 rocks in that corner. I just don't think it will look right. And when they plug plant the top, and then we're going to bark mulch in front of it and plug plant, so that's just going to be the backdrop. It will be fine. I just don't dare leave that corner open with the heavy rain that's coming. And like I said, I'm going to take the tractor and try to roll this a little bit right now. I got this good enough to where the rain's going to come and all the water should just settle in the back side of that for now. I'm glad I'm actually to this point not glooming it, because I wouldn't want 2 days of solid downpours if you just put loom on this and seed it. It's actually, it would rot the seed. So what I'm probably going to do is bring a load of stone Monday. We loaded up a couple of small rocks to finish up that wall, and I dumped the stone to one side because I'm going to try to dump that right out into the bucket of the 2501 that's there. Cool morning, 32 degrees. Hopefully it warms up. We're throwing some loom around, a little more up through here. Get this shaped out back a little bit, but I put that stone. Most of the water comes right down out of that valley, so that stone will kind of catch it all, force it into this outer ditch, keep it from running through this house. I weren't supposed to get too crazy with the loom over here, but I just neatened it up, and I think that'll look pretty good for them in the spring. We'll shape this a little bit better. I just want to get the loom spread out and back here, then after lunch I'm going to come back with a better rake. But that wall is pretty much what it's going to be. I think they'll be happy with that. They thought I was putting 4 or 5 boulders there, and I just couldn't. I ended up digging a little lower in that corner. And it's all sand, so it won't stay there unless you retain it. But them are somewhat good rocks. There's a couple good ones in there, but I tried picking through the pile and using stuff for this that I didn't really need a super square wall here. It's literally just retaining that corner, and over there they just wanted it rolled down. I think their plan is to plug plant a couple trees or shrubs in there of some sort up in the back side of this wall. So over near the shed they're going to do something. I think he's going to put a lean-to or something. I think that's why he wanted it on the ground flat. Probably to put kayaks under, so you're not putting them away every time you use them. But like I said, I just thought I'd show where we're at. Same thing with that grass. We're just going to rake that around, seed it, mulch it, and this will be a better lawn than they've ever had before. And then out front, we're just going to bring a couple more loads of loom in. Where my dump truck's sitting, they've decided they want me to put a driveway in, so I got to bring one load of real good gravel. But we got to lift this whole front yard up 4 or 5 inches to get the water to drive out of here. And then that rock she wants is kind of a centerpiece. I might try to lift that one hosta that's there, but the ground's, it's pretty frozen. I'm having a heck of a time with this loom this morning because there's some pretty good chunks. Last night was in the low 30s. When I started this morning it was 32. So, but like I said, I decided to take a shot where we're at, and we're gonna break for lunch real quick and I'll be back. Got the driveway in yesterday. I just dug the mossy grass that was on there out, and there's very little loom here. That's why the grass has never been that great. But I wanted to make sure there was a good base if they ever get it hot top later on. Other than that, we just got to spread the loom this morning. I'm going to try to get it done over there. We're not even fixing that lawn. We're just going to blend it here so that this hollow don't fill with water. And Put some more around this tree. Probably one more scoop in the middle. We'll rake it out. I'm going to try to get this wrapped right up. We'll see how it works. I'll rake it out this morning. I'm actually glad. I thought this might be really frozen up. It was pretty cool. It got down to like 32 last night. But we'll get this wrapped up hopefully today. And like I said, originally we were supposed to just dig out back. And then I had to cut the electrical water lines, move the shed. Then they paved out front here, left a big berm, had to fill that in. Then I told them, I said, I think the water's just going to hang in this front yard if we don't do something. They agreed. So, but we got that rock moved over that she wanted. I put a little bit of a raised bed there she can doll up next year. But fertilized seed, I'm going to straw it when I get back, but that should bind up pretty good. Got the driveway in for them. I don't necessarily agree. I think the parking should have been over there, but customer's always right. Back here is done. This grass should come in pretty good. They're not expecting it to be a golf course anyways. They don't even want a lot of grass to have to deal with. But like I said, that's back on its feet, level. He can wire it and plumb it himself. I would have, but he wants to do it. That hillside, same thing with that. These rocks, I went way further than I should have, money-wise. It would have looked better if I went all the way down through, but the money just wasn't there. And they said they're fine with that. They're going to let that moss back up. You'll find in this part of New England, they're up here to enjoy their camp. They're not up here to mow grass. They actually love the fact that this is this yard moss is up like that because you're not mowing it all the time. He said, matter of fact, they don't even want to have to buy a lawnmower, don't they? They do most of this with a weed whacker, but now they're going to have to get a mower. That stuff out front I'm doing is going to grow. This should be pretty decent grass, to be honest with you. I wish I could have got it a little bit smoother, but it's starting to freeze up. We got rain in the piles this morning. When I got here driving into the piles, they were actually frozen pretty good. But I'm pretty confident this will be more than what they were looking for. Like I said, we're doing this grass just to fill the front yard in so that it didn't fill with water because of the curb they left here with the hot top. But like I said, I think it's going to be funny. I think he's going to have a nice green grass. he'll probably be calling me in the spring for more loom. So, but I guess they had done this walkway themselves and wanted to leave it. So we just went with that. And it sounds like it's just a husband and wife that's up here most of the time. So all they needed was that one car. And he said if I do bring my truck, I always park it over there. So, all right. I just thought I'd take a shot just in case I weren't able to because it starts raining. I got to go grab some more straw and I'll come back. Her walkway got left, so she'll be happy. Got that bermed up. I raked that out the best I could, but like I said, it filled in the yard. I think they'll be happy with that. We'll walk out back real quick. Shed's down on level ground. He can wire that in next year. That corner rock wall's done enough though. I think they'll be happy. Like I said, they were expecting to get 4 or 5 boulders. I did what I could. I weren't getting enough money to get crazy with a real fancy rock wall, even though I thought it would look good. But you got to do what people can afford, and you can't be working for free. Like I said, that hillside, they were expecting for the bulk of that hillside just to have a hill like that. That will bind back up. All the water that comes down should catch in that and then work its way around the house is what they were looking for. A little more work than I originally thought. Then they added moving the shed, getting it down off those pedestals. But like I said, I think they'll be happy for the money they spent. That garden there, I think she wants to extend to the end to where that hoster is. I was gonna lift that hoster, it's just too late in the season. I don't want to pull something and have it die on them. All right, we're gonna end this video here. We're done with that yard. I'm glad it's done. The weather's supposed to get kind of funky the rest of the week, but we're gonna call this one here. I believe the people are gonna think I went beyond what they thought I was gonna do. That rock wall in the back was only supposed to be 5 or 6 boulders. I just had to dig further in and to get that water to run around the house the way I wanted to. So I gave them a price. I stuck to the price. I just got a little crazy bringing rock in. I was expecting to do that with like one ton load of rock. I brought 4 loads in. And same with that shed. Moving that shed back because of the wiring and plumbing that ran to it was a pain in the butt. They'll be happy. I'm happy. It's still a decent job for my size company. that one job turned into 3 or 4 jobs, which is an awesome thing in the spring or summer, but when you're trying to wrap up your seasons, not so much. But again, I think everybody's going to be happy in the end. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.